So my husband told me that he doesn't love his stepson and that most of the time he doesn't even like him. And what do you know? Now we're getting divorced. This is a conversation that we had on December 1st, our 10-year anniversary, when he told me that he really doesn't like my son and that he resents him for the fact that I put him first and that my son is priority to me above anything else. And you know what? That's okay because that's never going to change. So on December 1st, when we had that conversation, that's when I knew I was done. Okay, that's when I knew I was finished. I'm like, I'm so gone. Like, you don't love this child that you have raised kind of for 10 years, this kid that you've seen grow up, this kid that is a direct reflection of me because I have poured everything in my life into raising him properly. You're going to tell me that you don't love him and that you want me to put you, a 33-year-old man, first over raising an 11-year-old boy? Absolutely not. So on our 10-year anniversary, I told him, I said, yeah, I'm done. You need help. You need to go to therapy. My son is not my soon-to-be ex-husband's child. Now, if he were his child, that would be a different story. I would choose to put my husband first because it's a direct reflection of how a man and a wife should be, and it should be a good example.
You shouldn't have married him. And I might catch a lot of heat for this, but it's not because he's the problem. Just think about it, because what you said was that if he was your son's biological father, that you would be putting him first. But that's not the case. He's not his biological father. And even though he was there from almost the start, your son was 1 year old. That man lived 10 years in that household as a guest. He was never accepted as father or as husband. He was continuously reminded in all of the little things and all of the big things that you would choose your son over him in every single case. And not only would you silently just do what you thought what was best, you would throw it in his face, just like you are here, because your husband opened up, he was vulnerable, and he said that he had resentment towards a child. Like, he knows that's not right, but something caused it. And I would argue that it's not anything wrong within him. I would argue it is because of the dynamic of the relationship that you are a part of. And that's something that you need to be part of to fix, but you are obviously not, because you are blaming him and you are setting it up for him to fix his issue. Am I right, guys? Like, this is a very valid fear and valid reasoning as to why a man is not going to want to date a single mom.
It is very strange that a man spent 10 years, since age 1, with a boy and does not look at him as a son. I would like to hear from the man, because this story is missing some facts and context. He is 100% not the problem. She lost me when she said she would put him first if he was the father. Stepdad is a thankless job. All the responsibilities, but none of the authority or respect. What if the man had a daughter and was prioritizing her over the wife? What will happen when your son replaces you? Who is making you people choose? A son and husband should fill entirely different roles in your life. There is no pecking order, and it is not a contest. You should never put your kids first. You become one flesh with your spouse and not your children. She is explicitly announcing why men must not marry single mothers. You know exactly why he didn't like the kid. He probably wasn't allowed to correct him if he said something to the kid because it was her kid. So automatically the kid becomes a competition which you can't win from. How did he even survive 10 years of her? Because he has already wasted his productive years. She didn't even put the biological father first. Traditionally, you make a vow to your spouse, and that should be your priority. Your kid will leave one day, but that doesn't mean you should neglect or ignore your child. The resentment for the child comes from choosing the child's wants over the desires of the spouse. She can split the mortgage with her son now. Children learn from watching. Her son is destined to not prioritize his future partner. Woman, you have to break the cycle and be free from this delusional mindset of yours. This is what society has done to men. Fathers get pushed out. Any new man is never truly part of the family, but only a temporary supplement, and he is useful until he needs something real or stop providing, and then he is pushed aside. If marriage or dating is treated as something disposable, where partners are swapped out at convenience, replaced by someone who exists only to serve and stay silent, then we haven't just damaged the family, rather we have murdered it. We sacrificed it willingly, not for love or stability, but to prop up a system we built and now worship. And that system, not family, is what we truly prioritize. This is one of the reasons why it is so difficult for a single mom to find a new partner, because you always have the feeling you will never come first. Men should entirely stop this notion of dating or marrying single mothers because it doesn't always end well. Dating in general is doomed, and men have checked out. They are no longer interested because women have destroyed the very tenet of relationships by making seems like a life's test. Men are now going their own way.
Men don't go after women anymore nowadays. And part of the reason is that it's just become so hard because we women have become so demanding. Not that long ago, a marriage was seen as an economical agreement, and the husband was expected to provide for his family and to protect his family. But in those days, we women were still financially dependent on men. But now that we make our own money, we don't just want a husband to be a provider or to protect us, but we want a husband who can really understand us, who can feel us emotionally, and who can help in the household, and wait a minute, who can also be a very good father to our kids. But it's not just because we're financially independent that we have these expectations. It's also that society, the way it's set up, has changed completely. We used to live in a society in which we had a whole support system around us. We would have barbecues with the neighbor on the corner every Sunday. We would drink coffees with our neighbor every morning, and we would discuss our problems. But nowadays, because we also work, we live way more isolated, and the time we have off, we spend more and more with this one person who's our husband. And what that looks like in reality is that we sit on the sofa at night and we watch TV together. We look at rom-coms in which the man goes through hell and back to win a woman's heart. So besides the fact that practically seen we expect more from our men, our brains are also fed with all these fantasies about how relationships should and could be. And men have stopped to go after women because they freak out with the thought that they have to deliver all these things that women expect nowadays.
To everything you listed, add the traditional stuff which are to protect and provide. The question is, for the price he has to pay, what does he get? It will be nothing. The thing is that men don't even want much from women. Just respect, honesty, loyalty, and be truthful, but it is always difficult for these women to give men all those, and they expect men to provide everything for them, and you will see the one-sidedness, and still wonder why men don't want to date anymore. The highest delusional idea is when a woman thinks she deserves more than what she has. Most women that are making money won't even spend it on their partners, and they would rather waste it. Men are always rejected in droves, and women call them creeps if they don't find them attractive. I don't see a reason why a man should even talk or date any woman in this era, because it is basically useless at this time. Men do not want children with women who are less willing to make some sacrifices in a marriage. Their price increased way too much for a too abundant perishable product, and now the bubble is ready to explode against women's face. It is not only hard. Men are clearly losing interest in dating women. Their peace is more important than anything else. Dating is now so boring and worthless that it sets singlehood as the new standard of happiness in men. The entire family nucleus has been destroyed, and even more distress takes place now, all because we allowed such mindset run amok. The tax savings of marriage are not even worth it. There's other ways to hide your money. When these women leave because their fantasy doesn't come true, they will destroy you in the process. Financially, it's just not in a man's best interest to date or marry anymore because they have more to lose and must still deal with the drama these women come along with. Feminism has destroyed the modern dating society. Women are not worth dating anymore in this modern society. They should fix themselves, and men might come back. Nowadays, it is better to rent than to buy outright because you won't get into trouble.
I have to say I feel sorry for some of you men out there in the dating world because it is 2025. I'm a 38-year-old female, and these women out here even confuse me. Some women out here putting Jesus in their bio, but then you go look at their stuff and it's nothing but thirst traps, lustful, seductive content. I mean, the modern day woman calls serving your husband oppression, but yet will have no problem going out and serving a male boss and cry that that's empowerment. And real feminine energy is not sexual marketing like the modern day woman might tell you. Y'all are getting seduction and femininity like completely confused. And I've said it before, but a lot of women have this long laundry list of unrealistic criteria that they want in a man, but yet they bring nothing to the table. And we don't talk about that. We tell the women, no, you are a queen, you will be treated as such, but we're not teaching women how to be wives these days. And I would go out on a limb and say that most of the women out in the modern day dating culture do not actually have standards. They have entitlement and accountability, a woman's kryptonite. Some of you ladies are going to die alone, still blaming men for the choices that you made.
The current dating pool, influenced heavily by feminism, Me Too movement, For Be movement, etc., is a circus of undeserved women hovering around with their entitled little or no real value, expired lives with nothing to offer to men. Women have lost the plot for a very long time ago, and now they are trying to cover their shame without any accountability. I have seen several videos of women crying online about how men don't want them anymore, but their whole profile screams insecurity, lust, and ego. Attention isn't love. Lust isn't femininity, and no true good and excellent man would want a woman like that. Women have some serious, unrealistic standards and expectations that they have set out for men to have before they can even look at them. But if you check these things they want in men, they don't have it and can't even afford it. I'm saying this out loud again. Women are the cause why men don't want to date anymore. It is not and will never be a man's fault for why relationships have been destroyed. You can't expect a man that has lost half of his money to his wife through divorce and will still continue to lose money because he needs to see his children to start all over again to date or even ask a girl out. When the society is against men, they will have no option than to disappear from the dating world and mind their own business. Dating a woman in this modern-day culture is like going to Ruth's Chris thinking you are getting a high-class dining experience, but they only bring out ramen. Women lack accountability, and that's why they can't get anything done. The destructive women are the ones spoiling things for the good ones. The perception of having options have women fumbling on a lot of good people. The evolution of past relationships is crazy to watch in real time. Men get canceled for no reason, and they get rejected because they are the good guys. If you treat her like a celebrity, she will treat you like a fan. It is easier and less disappointing by giving up on dating because it is an absolute dumpster. Men have stopped caring, and at this point, it is better to be alone or get a passport.
Men are giving up on dating. And one of the reasons why is because of women's expectations. One of the main reasons why women have such unrealistic expectations is because of social media, and let me tell you why. So women are often fueled by what they see on social media. It seems like everywhere you look online, there are images of perfect couples, luxury, exotic vacation, lavish gifts, and this is very, very toxic because this is not even real. It's just social media. And these things create an unrealistic standard for women because they expect that from a partner. And men feel like they need to be wealthy or constantly shower women with gifts to be able to measure up. And it's a lot of pressure. It can leave men thinking that they'll never be able to meet these expectations. And as a result, men are just giving up on dating because they feel like they can compete against those fantasy relationships that we see online. And I think it's very, very dangerous because it can lead to self-esteem issues as men feel like they're never gonna be good enough. And this can result in anxiety, depression. So yeah, it's a very, very concerning problem.
It's not that men can't compete. We see no reason to do it because it is not worth it. What do men get for all the investment? More expenses and a divorce? No. Before social media, these women started with some princess syndrome that goes back to the days of Oprah. Men aren't giving up on love. They are stepping away from chasing what feels hollow. When depth is traded for convenience, solitude is what matters. Well, to help put kings back on dating, women should know that being rich isn't about being cool or popular. Rich is about being fully blessed to the point where you can't fall into debt. Women bring a lot of baggage and unhealed past traumas which men are not willing and ready to deal with. Women's expectations and standards on men is the reason why men will not be loved properly, not because of who they are or their characteristics, but because of what they can provide and what they can do that will benefit women. Social media, feminism, reality TV shows, dating apps, and pop culture were the cause of the downfall of modern dating. They destroyed family values and ruined families. Men have given up on dating because they are fed up of being treated like rubbish, cheated on, used for money, rejected, called creeps, etc. Men of nowadays don't want to be simps anymore by doing everything for women and getting back nothing in return. So it is better for men to remain single and spend money to improve themselves. They have lost their ways, no values, no traditions, etc., and they fight against nature. Women's priorities are messed up. Fellas, it is better to stay single or get your passport and travel to Asia and find a traditional feminine woman. It is just going to get worse because everybody wants the same things. Drizzle drizzle.
I can understand why men have given up dating, because can someone make it make sense for me how these women want men to text them back fast, but not too fast, that it's too creepy. They want men to make six figures while working 20 hours a week while they still have quality time with them. You know, if he has a good relationship with his mom, then that means he treats women well. But if he doesn't have a relationship with his mom, then that means he's automatically abusive. But then she doesn't want to ever talk about her daddy issues. If he's too nice and too kind, then that means that he wants something from you, or, you know, there's an assumption that he's just buying you gifts and whining and dining you because he wants sex. But if he doesn't wine and dine you, then he's lazy, he doesn't care, and he's not putting in enough effort. You want men to lead, but you don't want to listen. You want men to show their masculinity and take charge and plan dates, but not too much masculinity that he comes off as aggressive, mean, rude, or condescending. You want men to be in tune with your emotions, but if he's too emotional, then he's weak and you don't trust him to make decisions and lead. He has to be attractive, but not too attractive that he looks like a fuckboy or somebody that gets around, because if he's too attractive, then he has too many options. But if he's not attractive enough, then you're not even looking in his direction. If he has a child and a baby mom, then you automatically assume that, you know, what baby mom would want to be single, and that makes him toxic. But if he's never been married or in a committed relationship, then that also makes him toxic, and that's a red flag because he's never been in a relationship before. You want men to initiate the dating stages of a relationship. You want men to initiate sex, but then when he stops initiating sex, then you assume that he's cheating on you. You want men to be honest and open and upfront, but your idea of honest and open and upfront is basically him telling you only the truth that validate your feelings and your experiences, because the moment that he invalidates how you feel, now he's narcissistic, he's abusive, and he's mentally and emotionally using you and abusing you. These women will always say that they want men to be themselves and be authentic to who they are, but then there's an entire list of icks, like wearing sandals at, you know, in winter, or him just getting coffee, or him getting sepsis, and you think it's funny and you're posting it on social media, but the moment that he posts an ugly picture of you on social media, now he's a piece of crap and he's picked the wrong picture, and now you feel bad about yourself. If he dresses well and he takes care of himself, then he's too feminine and he's trying to show off. But if he doesn't dress well enough and he doesn't show off and he dresses average, then he looks like a broke-ass loser bum, and you want nothing to do with him. You want that man to have hobbies like going to play golf or gaming, but if he games too much or plays golf too much or it inconveniences your lifestyle or what you have going on, now you're pissed off. But if he doesn't have any hobbies, then he's a loser because he's too obsessed with you. But if he has too many hobbies and takes away time from you, then he doesn't care enough. If a man respects a woman's boundaries, then he's being too creepy because he's just too good of a man. But if he doesn't respect her boundaries, then he's likely to abuse her or SA her later on down the road. If a man speaks loud, then that means that he's aggressive. If he speaks too soft, then that means he's too feminine. Men expect constant attention and praise all of the time. So if you give too much, then you're trying too hard. But if you give too little, then you're a lazy bum and you don't match the guys in her DMs. These women don't want men to be manipulative or liars or cheaters, but they'll turn around and show their butt cheeks online and call it, you know, body positivity to basically cheat on you and be narcissistic, but then it's still all of your fault. And the sad reality is that you could give a woman everything that she could ever dream of: the house, the money, the cars, the emotional stability. You could provide, you could protect, you could check all of the boxes down the list, and guess what? she's going to turn around and say that she's bored, she's uninspired, she's not attracted to you. She's going to cheat on you with the next guy down the street who has no job, all because Susie Q has a better life on Instagram. But not only that, when she says that she's unhappy, she's going to get online and talk about how you're a narcissist, how you're abusive, even though you gave her everything that she could ever want. And every single step of the way that the goalpost changed or the expectation, especially unrealistic expectations, changed, you gave it to her and it still wasn't enough. So yeah, if anyone is ever wondering why men have stopped dating, this is a perfect example, because even as a woman, if you really sit back and look at it, it's so unrealistic and it's so delusional and it's so narcissistic that who the hell would want to put themselves through this? And it makes sense when you really think about it, because none of it actually makes sense. Women don't actually know what they want. They love the highs and lows of being incompatible with the wrong people instead of just being at peace, and then they blame the men for the unfulfillment and the lack of peace within their lives, even though they're the ones creating this diabolical cycle over and over with different men. Okay, bye.
She wants a man that makes her friends jealous of her because she cares more about herself and what others think of her, but her friends lie to her because they want her to be jealous of them. Listen to what you said. They want, etc. 117 rules that they don't have to follow. It is basically too much, unrealistic, and unattainable, even for long term. The saddest part is that the majority of women are like that. You can ask the majority of men who date them if you like. It is truly a double-edged sword when it comes to dating nowadays, and it is sad. Men who are currently dating now will be wondering if being single would be better. Being in a relationship with a woman these days offers absolutely nothing to a man. Rather, it drains the man financially, emotionally, physically, etc. Men are now knowing better and choosing to stay single because there is nothing beneficial for them in relationships. The dating culture is a social construct created by the society of women in conjunction with the government, and men were left out. This is what they have to deal with every day for the rest of their lives. The vast majority of men stopped dating over 20 years ago. Even female friends aren't worth keeping. They don't care what happens to you, but only about what they can get out of you. Women want too much and don't want to bring anything to the table. Women don't even want to know the man. Their requirements are a superficial checklist of things that don't even matter. If you get to really know a man, he will move the world for you, but they don't care about a man's feelings. They want what they want until they don't want it anymore. Nothing is ever enough. Too many requirements and games. There is no longer a positive ROI in dating today's women. Rather, men are heavily investing in themselves. A man's peace is far more important than perpetually trying to satisfy an overbearing, insecure, and argumentative relationship. We are leaving these women behind as spinsters. Men are fine in their own company, and we are only giving you what you claim you have always wanted. Men see dating now as the biggest waste of time, energy, stress, and money. It is over because MGDOW is now the way of life for men. Men seek peace from these women, but they rarely get it, and now they are completely done with whatever it is with dating, relationships, and marriages. The only way to win is not to play.
Have modern women broken dating? Has the rise of feminism caused women to single-handedly destroy the dating dynamics? This is what I want to talk about in this video, because I think there's a truth to the fact that women have caused a serious disruption to how dating and courtship used to be. Okay, when was the last time that you have received flowers from a man? Oh, wait, I forgot. That's true. You can buy them yourself, can't you? You big girl, you. Traditional courtship seems to be disappearing. And courtship used to be around forever. Ever since we were around, there was courtship. I mean, it's a very natural thing. You see it everywhere in the world around you, in nature. And even though we see it in animals, we are still animals as well. I'm sorry to disappoint you, but you still are. Some of us more than others. Courtship is a healthy dynamic between the masculine and the feminine in partnership. And we humans also need it. It's actually a very natural process of gifting and reciprocation. And dating is our form of courtship. If one side feels that they have to give everything, they have to stretch a mile to even get the attention of the other, of course they're no longer going to try and pursue the woman in this case. if the woman doesn't show that she's interested, or doesn't show appreciation, or doesn't show respect and receptivity to his courtship. And that is what's happening in this day and age. And I think largely this has to do to feminism, especially modern feminism, as in how women are now so independent that they don't think that they need a man, or no man is good enough for them. Because what use do men actually have in my life? I have everything myself. I can provide for everything myself. But a man would be a nice accessory. And this is why they have such insanely, unacceptably high standards of men. When I was in the dating market, I have also experienced that a lot of men didn't take action. And I wondered why. Even though I showed interest, why don't they ask me out or call me up or take the next step? And I understand now. I see it in the comment section. Everything that you guys share, I read. And I'm shocked and I'm saddened to see that men are now hesitant to take action towards a woman, even if they're interested in her. And it's mainly because they think it's not worth the effort. It's not worth the trouble, because there's a lot of risks associated with dating a woman in this day and age, sadly. But also men don't feel appreciated. They don't feel respect when they actually court a woman, when they show interest in a woman, when they take a woman out. Very few women show respect and acknowledge the effort that the man is making towards courting them, towards taking them out on a date. Because ladies, you have to understand that the dating that we do, that is the courtship. That is the dance that the male and the female bird do together. This is a man showing his interest in you, showing that he would be a capable partner for you. But many women just take and they don't give anything in return. Or they give a lot of drama, or they have very high expectations of a man that a man can never meet. Of course, a man is discouraged to approach a woman in that case, because it just never seems enough. Whatever a man does, women have such high standards that men cannot meet. So men don't even try. On top of that, men don't pursue women anymore because there's a real risk of being called a creep. And men don't want to be called a creep. Every man has experienced it or had the feeling that a woman thought that she thought that he's a creep for approaching her. Ladies, when a man approaches you, please treat it with respect. This is an act of bravery. This man steps out of his comfort zone to approach you because he finds something interesting about you. There's nothing wrong with finding a person interesting. Accept that the man has interest in you. It's a compliment. Learn to receive the attention and learn to receive the compliment when a man approaches you. Even if you're not interested in this man, you can decline in a nice, respectful manner. This is what you do as a lady. When a man approaches you, just say, "Thank you, that's so sweet. That really brightened up my day." I mean, wouldn't you want to hear that you brighten up someone's day, even if then after nothing comes of it? Of course. And you're helping this man regain the confidence to approach women and to see that not all women are snobby bitches, sorry for using the word, who don't appreciate a man's effort. So please be conscious of how you treat men when men give to you, when men approach you, when men take you out on a date. Be respectful, be grateful, be thankful that this man thinks that you're so beautiful or so amazing or so worth spending time with, so worth spending money on. This is a huge compliment. So treat it like that. Have some dignity, show some respect, and show some appreciation towards men. Because sadly, many women expect everything from men but give little to nothing in return. If a man is chivalrous towards a woman in this day and age, they say it's outdated and it is sexist and it is patriarchal control over a woman.
Imagine a man that does everything that is expected of him, and then a woman hits menopause and gets unhappy and files for divorce. The laws would give her the kids, the house, and alimony with child support. He gets nothing but slavery for life. Why would he risk that? To be honest, this is a waste of time to even discuss because it is too late now as men have moved on. Getting a wife from abroad is a man's best option in today's world and followed by just staying strongly single. The worst option for a man is to get married and have children because it comes with way too much risk. It is crazy to me that we have already passed the point of no return and women are just now realizing that men are done with it. Men are eager to date women, but the challenge lies in the fact that they often encounter only superficial representations rather than authentic women. Me Too movement is still fresh in our minds, where someone can falsely accuse you of a crime you didn't commit, and she gets away with it, and she is not punished for it. That is the world we live in today. The destruction of the middle class has a lot to do with it. Young men don't have the resources young women want, and resources and money is still a primary motivator for women to choose a man. Everyone is scared of poverty, and women can without any cause divorce and take half of everything you built. Now, tell me why a man should date or marry a woman. A man will give flowers to his girlfriend or wife, and he will be met with either suspicion or no appreciation. A lot of good men were raised for a society that doesn't exist anymore. Talk show hosts, reality TV, social media, and feminism in general have sent a message to men that women are never happy. So men have realized that going to different countries where women are not brainwashed by these mediums is the best thing that could even happen to them. Men are willing to sacrifice everything, but not if they are meant to be used as a stepping stone. Men are not women's ATM machines. Social media has destroyed healthy human interactions, and men are done with it.
So we all know in 2024 the dating scene kind of sucks.
Couldn't agree more, and I'm sure you're going to enlighten us as to why.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that men no longer court women.
Again, I 100% agree, and there's a reason for that, and I'm willing to bet you're going to share with us what you think those reasons are. I'm also willing to bet that whatever you think the reasons are aren't even remotely close to the actual reasons why.
Men no longer pursue women the way they used to. Think about The Notebook. Think about the way that Noah pursued Allie from the second he saw her. That literally doesn't happen anymore. Maybe like 5% of the time.
Now I have to admit it's been a while since I made my way through that god-awful movie. But her referencing it proves once again that women live and breathe in fantasies. And because she loved what she saw in that movie, she's now decided that that's the way it's always been, at least up until now. Every man has pursued women in exactly the same way as what happened in that movie. Well, I hate to break it to you, darling, but that's not even remotely close to reality.
So these are my theories as to why the dating scene is like that. First of all, I think that the music we've listened to growing up has really affected this. I think that rap music has had such a negative impact on men and on the dating scene, because if you listen to rap music and you listen to the way that these guys refer to women, they basically just talk about them like they're objects for sex, and they're really not useful for anything else. Like there's literally zero respect for women in these songs.
Now, I actually think she's got a little bit of a point about music, and rap music in particular, influencing the mindset of today's men. I don't necessarily disagree with her, but I also think it's highly influenced the mindset of today's women. Now, I'm no fan of rap music, and I don't listen to it. It's not my thing any more than country music is. But to blame everything on rap music, not so much. But it is a fair point to say that there has been some influence. And the little bit I do know about rap music is it can be very degrading towards women. But the other observation I've often made is that the biggest connoisseurs of that music, the ones who follow it the most, happen to be white suburban teenage girls. Just saying.
The second thing is pornography, and unfortunately a lot of boys get exposed to this at such a young age, and it drastically affects the way their brains view women. It basically teaches them to unwillingly sexualize everything and every woman that they come across, basically just viewing them as objects for sex instead of as actual human beings.
Again, I do happen to agree with her. I just don't think it's having as much of an effect as she thinks it does. Because it's not the corn that's driving this. It's how women are acting that's driving this. We all know of a certain website where millions of women are choosing to put themselves, let's say, on display. So to blame it all on the boys and absolve the women when in fact it is them providing the product is a bit disingenuous, don't you think? But again, I do think you have somewhat of a valid point. That said, though, it's not a bigger reason why men are avoiding courting women as you think it is.
It also makes it harder for them to be in a committed relationship because they're used to seeing different girls every single time they watch this. They lose appreciation for a woman's body and just for her as a human being because they have such easy access to naked women.
No. Not even close on that one. And by the way, why would it be any different for women who choose to partake in corn? And oh yes, ladies, you do choose to partake in corn. Oh, you may not watch the videos as much, but I remind you that 50 Shades of Grey and other similar novels sell by the millions every single year. And it ain't guys buying them. And yes, ladies, they are a form of corn. And they set unrealistic expectations every bit as much as the videos do.
They don't need to court women in order to see these things, so they stop courting women in real life too.
Or maybe, just maybe, they stopped courting women the way the guys in those romance novels do. So you don't see it when they do court you. Because, well, it's the bare minimum. It's not enough. Your expectations are based on romance novels and rom-com movies, where their men are absolutely perfect and fulfill every woman's desire. It's where the whole sixes mentality comes from. Because those guys in the movies and in those books are all 6 feet tall millionaires with six-pack abs and, well, you know the rest. They're fantasies, not reality. But yet women have set their expectations based on them. While of course saying it's completely misogynistic if men hold women to the same standards that all the actresses in those movies display. Funny how that is.
And it's the exact same thing when these guys are viewing girls on social media, and it also impacts the way they view women in real life who are just raw, unedited, real, natural human beings, because now their brains are so trained into thinking that that's not what attractive women look like.
I mean, kind of like how women think every man should look like Ryan Gosling, you know, that actor in The Notebook, that movie you swooned over earlier. How's that any different? But yet in your mind, it is. Again, more generalizations of men while refusing to acknowledge that women are exactly the same way.
They think that women are supposed to look like what they see in porn and on social media when all of that is fake.
It's mind-boggling how they literally cannot see the double standards and hypocrisy of their entire arguments.
Women giving it up way too easy. Why would a man court you and try hard to win you over?
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did she suddenly just figure it out? Let's see what else she's got to say here.
When he can just buy you a drink at the bar and then get in your pants. Just as much as men are not courting women, we are also enabling them.
Well, in the end, I got to give credit where credit's due. She did nail one of the big reasons why men aren't courting women. Because it makes far more sense to men to lease a Ferrari and, when you get bored with it, maybe a Lamborghini, than to lock yourself down with the purchase of a minivan. But that's not the real reason. In the end, men would be perfectly happy with a minivan if, and this is the big one, they got something in return. Because that's the real reason why men aren't courting. If you listen to everything she said in that video, up until the very end, she put all the blame on men. She looked for every reason she could except the real one. The fact being that women offer nothing in return in relationships anymore. And the reason she does that is, well, as I always say, taking accountability or taking responsibility to women is akin to kryptonite to Superman. And rather than accept and acknowledge the fact that they offer nothing to men other than a certain thing, a thing which is readily available by her own admission, they seek to put the blame on things like rap music and corn. Now, earlier she said that those things are examples of how men don't respect women. In reality, the reverse is true. The ultimate real reason why men are done and walking away, why they're no longer courting women, is that today's modern women do not respect men. Not in any way, shape, or form. They see them as things to be used and then discarded. It's why 80% of women file for divorce, and the number one reason they file is they think they can do better or they're bored. Knowing that that's the reality more than half the time, why would you ever expect men to come a-courting? It makes no sense. The logic does not compute. And until that changes, until women start showing some respect for men and acknowledging them and treating them as human beings, not wallets, well, nothing's going to change.
She nailed few of her points, and some of her points that I understood low-key contradict one another. Men don't pursue, because that's now called stalking if we aren't 6 feet 3 inches tall, rich and good-looking. The Notebook is a love story that is derived from cheating. Well, that says just enough. Tactics in The Notebook will get you arrested. The Notebook might be the worst example of how relationships should work. She is just another entitled, stuck-up American princess that lives in a fantasy world of romance novels and films. Men should avoid this type of women like the bubonic plague and better off looking traditional and feminine women in third world countries than this cultural sewer. She sounds like she thought she was pretty and could have a messed up attitude, and she would find that 1% man she thinks she deserves. Romance novels and movies do the same thing as corn. They create a false reality where fantasy becomes the expectation of reality. She is basically wrong on rap music. All rap isn't like that, and she is just generalizing, and she is also forgetting how female rappers talk about themselves in their own songs. She is blaming men for listening to rap music, but what about the women listening to Cardi B, Ice Spice, Latto, Sexy Red and the likes? Dating is just like playing the lottery with the hope that you will win. You can tell a woman what you want from morning till night, and she won't even listen to you. Women have no idea about how a woman should act or behave. She is busy talking about unrealistic expectations at the same time using goop so that she will look beautiful. Men prefer natural and not artificial. There is also the risk of men losing everything when the woman gets bored, like the house, half of the paycheck, possessions, kids, etc. The risk is too great and much. The truth is an unrealistic expectation that kills relationships. I worked better when we were more grounded in reality. This generation of women are not familiar with the concept of accountability in any aspect of their lives. Why should a man chase or date a woman who will eventually choose someone else who doesn't care about her? Love is not worth any effort men make to get a woman anymore. Stay strong and single kings. It is time to get your passports. Today's video is finished. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section. See you all next time. Thanks for always watching.